So what if we've gone through troubleshooting, we've rebuilt our data, and we're still having the same difficulties? Well, I'd like you to keep in mind that there's a few other things that we can try. However, QuickBooks does have a service that you can send them your data and they will try to fix it for you. Unfortunately, this comes with a price. It can be very expensive to rework your data, so make sure that you absolutely need to do that. Again, it goes back to backup and check your backups. I recommend at least once a month make sure you have an absolutely good backup. If I have a good backup, no errors, I'm going to check my logs, rebuild my data. The nice part is I can usually redo a month's worth of work. Of course I don't want to, but we're talking worst case scenario. Now, some of the other things I want to point out to you. When you're in your list and you're adding new items, new customers, new vendors, please be careful about using too many special characters and spaces. The rule of thumb is try to avoid them at all costs. However, very often we like to use the ampersand, we like to use dashes. Just keep in mind that this has a higher risk of things going wrong. In particular, they cause issues when they are at the beginning of an item. Very often we like to put an asterisk in front to just kind of flag it for ourselves. Resist this opportunity. That could cause you problem with corruption. And the thing with corruption is it's progressive. It works today and then 2 weeks from now it doesn't work, so you don't remember what you did wrong. Try as much as possible to keep your names as clean as possible. Go to town in the description list because that is more of a dormant type field. It's not used for sorts in the background. In our inventory, same thing. Be careful. What I want you to be careful of in particular is that if you accidentally put a space at the beginning of an item list. I've known this to cause a great deal of headaches. We can also do some troubleshooting by looking at our journals, our chart of accounts, our transaction detail reports. Under your report area, in the accountant area, you'll see all the reports I'm about to talk about. First, in our journal. Remember, your journal is going to make sure that you can see everything that you've done in journal entries. I want you to ensure that they're in balance. I want you to ensure that your account numbers and everything are coming up correctly. Now again, remember, this is just in the case of when things are going wrong. If your journals check out, then I'd like you to eyeball your general ledger. In the general ledger, in particular, I want to make sure everything is in balance in each of the accounts. So I'm going to make sure my debits equal my credits. In the case of a corrupted entry, this can be out of balance, and that's what we're looking for. I can also look at a custom transaction detail report. This will give me debits and credits per transaction. It's a little bit harder to read, but again, remember, in most instances, we're going to be looking at a small section of data, not all of it. Here, I'm just eyeballing that each of my transactions, again, have a debit and credit. In corrupt data, one of these could have a hiccup to it. So when we're troubleshooting, I'm going to make sure that there are no special characters or spaces in my item list. I'm going to look at my ledgers and my journals to make sure everything's gone correctly with both my debits and my credits. And I'm going to eyeball the custom transaction detail report. If I've done all of this, I've rebuilt my data, I've checked my preventive maintenance on my machine, the last area of recommendation that I have is to ensure you run a scan disk on all of the machines that are running QuickBooks, in particular the machine that is storing your data. You could have an issue on your hard drive. You could have what we call a bad sector that is causing the problem. Run your scan disk. All of those are coming up clean. Then you'll probably need to return to a backup, or absolute worst case scenario, ask QuickBooks to try to fix your data. Remember, if you don't have those backups though, there's not going to be any type of data that you can actually fix.